Two archipelagos, similar geography, similar history, 400 years later. One exports products, the other exports people. Same region, completely different outcome. Why? Indonesia. Islam arrived with traders, not armies. No conquest, no forced conversion. Merchants brought a framework. Local rulers chose it. The existing civilization was not replaced. The Javanese kept their shadow puppets, their gamelan music, their ancient scripts. Islam asked what they had, then built with it. The old civilization survived inside the new one. The Philippines, 1565. Spanish soldiers and Catholic priests arrived together. The cross and the sword were one operational unit. What followed was not conversion, it was replacement. The Baybayin script, the indigenous Filipino writing system, was systematically suppressed. Within a century, a literate civilization had lost its written language. It has never recovered. The Babaylan, indigenous spiritual leaders, mostly women, were specifically targeted. They represented authority the church needed to eliminate. When they were gone, so was the knowledge they carried. In West Sumatra, the Minangkabau people are Muslim and matrilineal. Women inherit property. Matrilineal kinship governs family structure. Islam arrived and asked what they had. It stayed. In the Philippines, the ilustrado class, the educated elite, were schooled in Spanish, alienated from indigenous tradition. Their own language had no script. The colonizers' framework was the only vehicle. Today, 10 million Filipinos work abroad. Nurses, domestic workers, seafarers. The largest source of Philippine national income is Filipinos leaving. The economy exports the people the land couldn't sustain. Indonesia has problems. But its cultural diversity, Javanese, Balinese, Minangkabau, Batak, survives within a framework that synthesized rather than replaced. Dozens of traditions. One coherent civilization. The difference between these two countries is not the people, not the geography, not the resources. It is the operating system that was installed 400 years ago. One operating system asked, "What do you have?" The other said, "Replace what you have with this." 400 years later, the difference is still visible. In the land, in the language, in who stays and who leaves. The Philippines and Indonesia are not unique. Across history, communities built thriving internal economies, self-sufficient, prosperous, not requiring the external system. They had something good. When those communities reached a certain scale, when the model looked replicable, something consistent happened. The historical record shows a pattern, the same pattern, repeatedly. Tulsa, Oklahoma. A community had built exactly this, 35 blocks. Its own banks, hospitals, law firms, newspapers. The dollar circulated internally 36 times before leaving. In 36 hours it was gone. What replaced it was not accident. What was lost was not just buildings. Who benefited? And why the blueprint had to be burned. This was not unique to Tulsa. The same year, Red Summer, 26 cities. The same pattern, different locations, same outcome. The blueprint burned before it could spread. Red Summer, 1919. A season of coordinated attacks on prosperous black communities across 26 American cities. Same pattern, same years, same outcome, named for the bloodshed. The Greenwood community rebuilt within a year, without outside help, against legal obstruction. The operating system was that strong. They were stopped the second time by a highway. The question is not what was destroyed. The question is what was proven before it was destroyed, and whether it can be proven again. The standard story, a race riot, white mob, racial tensions, one night of violence. That framing has an answer built in, but forensic history asks a different question. Who benefited? Greenwood, 1921, 35 blocks. Its own banks, law firms, hospitals, newspapers, theaters. The dollar circulated internally 36 times before leaving the community. This was not poverty. This was architecture. Wall Street extracts upward. Wealth concentrates at the apex. Greenwood circulated horizontally. The more isolated it was, the stronger it got. Segregation was designed to weaken it. Greenwood inverted the mechanism. 3 levels operated that night. Street level, the mob. Visible, photographed. Prosecuted in no court. This is where the story usually ends. It is where the forensic record begins. Middle level, Tulsa city government and Oklahoma National Guard. The Guard did not stop the attack. It participated. Internment of black Tulsans. Confiscation of weapons from the community being attacked. Not protection, administration. Capital level, aircraft over Greenwood before the burning. World War I biplanes. Who owned them? Who authorized them? Who in Tulsa had both aviation assets and financial interest in Greenwood-adjacent real estate? These are answerable questions. Within months of the destruction, zoning laws changed. The land Greenwood sat on was rezoned. Attempts by residents to rebuild were legally obstructed. The community rebuilt anyway within a year. The second operation used a highway. The insurance claims, every single one denied. The legal mechanism that would have allowed reconstruction through existing channels, closed. Not by the mob, by institutions. Institutions have names and addresses. The forensic question is not who lit the match. It is who held the property in 1920, who held it in 1922, and what those names connect to. Tulsa County deed records exist. They have not been centered in the standard account. The race riot framing does specific work. It provides a villain, the working class mob, who is safely historical and conveniently dead. It makes the crime ideological, not economic. It makes the remedy attitudinal, not restitutional. Diversity training versus deed transfers. Reconciliation theater versus forensic accounting. The institutions funding Greenwood memorials today trace their asset portfolios to 1921. The memorial is the second operation completing itself. This is not unique to Tulsa. The pattern has a name. Identify the autonomous community. Destroy it. Construct the narrative. Ensure the forensic layer never becomes the center of the story. Call the memorial justice. The Greenwood community rebuilt within 1 year. Without insurance. Without legal protection. Against active obstruction. The operating system was that strong. The second operation, the highway, took what the first could not. The Greenwood community rebuilt within 1 year. Without insurance. Without legal protection. Against active obstruction. The operating system was that strong. The second operation, the highway, took what the first could not. What was proven in Greenwood before it was destroyed, that the model works, that segregation can be inverted, that horizontal circulation produces prosperity, that the blueprint is replicable. That was the threat, not the race. The question forensic history leaves open. If the race riot framing protects the capital level, what does the capital level look like today? Same families, same institutions, different names, same asset base, still unexamined. Tulsa 1921 gets taught, but rarely. And when it does, it's called a race riot. What it never gets called is what it actually was. One entry in a 25-year pattern. Wilmington, North Carolina, 1898. Prosperous black political and business community. Elected officials. Functioning governance, November 10th. Armed white militia. Government overthrown in 1 day. The only successful coup in American municipal history. The Wilmington coup was not spontaneous. It was planned. Newspaper campaign preceded it. Weapons were stockpiled. Targets were identified. The prosperous black community was the target. The political power protected the economic power. Atlanta, 1906. Black business district. Same pattern. Economic architecture built over decades. Destroyed in days. Narrative constructed immediately. Racial tensions. Local incident. The forensic layer never centered. East St. Louis, 1917. Black workers brought north for industrial labor. Community forms, prospers. Labor dispute erupts. Black community attacked. Estimated 200 dead, thousands displaced. 1 year before Red Summer 1919, not a season of riots. 26 cities. Same 2-year window, Chicago, Washington, D.C., Elaine, Arkansas. The same year industrial workers of the world was organizing across racial lines. The same year black veterans returned expecting democracy. The convergence is not coincidental. Labor radicalism peak. Black veterans armed and organized. Industrial workers of the world, nicknamed the Wobblies, building cross-racial coalitions. Autonomous black communities proving the model works. Everything threatening the extraction architecture simultaneously. Tulsa, 1921, the most architecturally significant target. 35 blocks, its own financial system. The dollar circulating internally 36 times. Aircraft overhead. National Guard participating. Capital layer acquiring assets within months. Rosewood, Florida, 1923. Small, prosperous black community. Destroyed over 1 week. Land acquired. Survivors fled. The state of Florida didn't acknowledge it officially for 70 years. The pattern completing itself quietly. 25 years. Wilmington, Atlanta, East St. Louis, 26 cities in Red Summer, Tulsa, Rosewood, each taught separately, each called a riot, each in a different chapter of a different course in a different decade. Teaching them separately was the operation continuing. A riot is local, a pattern is systemic. Local requires local remedy. Systemic requires systemic accounting. The curriculum ensures the pattern never becomes visible. The selection criterion across every case. Functional economic autonomy with replication potential. Not race. Race was the instrument. Economic architecture was the target. Every community destroyed had proven the model worked. The coalition that never formed. Appalachian white communities, Mexican barrios, Chinese neighborhoods, indigenous reservations, all targets of the same extraction architecture, all kept from recognizing the shared pattern, all taught their destruction was unique. One match lights every dormant community watching. The demonstration model had to be eliminated everywhere it appeared, before anyone compared notes. 25 years of elimination. Then the curriculum ensuring the notes were never compared. The community always knew. The oral tradition preserved the pattern, while the curriculum preserved the incidents separately. The accurate account was at the kitchen table. The sanitized version was in the textbook. The forensic record is public. The deed transfers exist. The insurance denials are documented. The rezoning timelines are verifiable. What they don't teach is not hidden. It was just never made the center of the story.